donuts. I got donuts. I got...
Donut? What's a donut?
Donuts. It looks wrong, but it is so right. Oh, yeah.
And we are live
Hi, everybody.
for another episode of Duff and Donuts. I am your host, Kien, not Keith, and I'm here today with my lovely co-host. Hey. So, we don't have a donuts today. We've been having a lot of cakes and desserts lately during the holiday season.
Because it's his birthday.
Yes, I am the humble age of 45.
Is that what 26 feels like?
It does feel like that, yes. I feel like I've become I feel like 26 is the reasonable amount to be like the okay grumpy dad. Because, like, canonically, Homer's only like, what, 33?
They change it. I think in one episode they say 42.
I know, but like in the more earlier episodes, he's like 36. Because I think they don't have Bart till like he's 26 in some episodes.
Well, they change it. Because,
right.
like, technically they got married, like, right out of high school. Well, I mean, she got pregnant first and then they got married. But
I thought they got married in college. Because I think she
they
got
met
pregnant
in high school.
Yeah. And then he impregnated her during college.
When he was working at the
golf course.
Yeah.
So that's not until season 3. Don't worry, I bought that episode. I've been watching.
I mean, if you actually add the numbers the way that it probably should be, like, let's say that they had Bart when they were like 22, Homer should just be in his 30s because Bart's 10.
Right.
But obviously, Simpsons time doesn't mean anything because, like, Maggie has stayed a baby the whole series, and, like, Apu, when he has kids, they actually age a little into toddlers, so...
I thought they kind of just aged to Maggie's age, because, like, Maggie can walk around, too, technically.
They seem more like toddlers to me, but...
Yeah, that's understandable.
I could be... I mean, who knows, right?
No, that's understandable. But we are keeping on with the tradition. I actually have had 3 root beers in the past couple of days. 2 of them being from our home state of Iowa, the Sioux City Sarsaparillas. They're really good. You can find them at your local draft soda mint. But right now I'm just drinking the good old Great Value root beer. It's not the same, but it'll do. So, we are here today for episode 3, Homer's Odyssey. And before I open up, fun trivia fact I forgot. Bart actually holds the book Homer's Odyssey in Bart the Genius as a reference to what the next episode is going to be named of.
Ooh, that's fun. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Oh, in your face. I knew something. You did it.
Because you looked it up on the internet.
That's what I'm supposed to do. I'm the research guy.
I just draw my conclusions from, like, watching the show.
I'm the host with the most knowledge. That's my goal. I'm Joe Rogan of this stuff. Hope that sticks in. So, let's go to the episode. So, like, Bart's going on a school trip to the nuclear power plant.
Well, you forgot the chalkboard and the couch gag.
And the couch.
The chalkboard one was, I will not skateboard in the halls.
Which, ironically, he does. And
he skateboards out of the building, so. And then the couch gag was, they just sit on it, and it breaks, and they all fall on the floor. So, pretty basic couch gag still.
I feel like the first couple of episode couch gags are going to be like this. Am I wrong?
Oh, no, definitely. They definitely get more crazy as they go on. And longer or shorter, depending on the episode length.
Right.
That's the way they do it. But diving into the episode, you're right. Bart's going on a field trip to the power plant. And he's a little embarrassed.
Of his dad. Well, it's not... Before they do that, though, before they go there, Terry and Sherry are just mad trashing on Homer. Which is like, it's Homer. Like... He most definitely is what Terry and Sherry are talking about, 100%.
Right, and apparently their dad works at the plant with him.
As a supervisor, essentially, I think.
Ooh, another fun point in this one was Otto. His voice was different in this episode. Was this his first appearance? He wasn't in the first 2, was he?
No.
I don't even remember at this point.
I don't think so, no,
All
he
my
was not.
stuff is running together, but... Yeah, the whole thing was he was sitting next to Wendell on the bus, and Wendell always gets sick. And Mrs. Krabappel says that if he makes a fuss, that he's going to have to get up and sing in front of everybody. So Terry and Sherry, they both kiss him on the cheeks, and then he has to get up and sing in front of everyone.
You know, another fun scene about that auto scene, sometimes it's deleted.
Which one?
Where Bart and Otto talk for a brief moment.
Oh.
Yeah, sometimes it's deleted depending on the time.
Interesting.
Depending how much time they have in, like, the syndication blocks. Depending on if that episode beforehand is longer or shorter.
I had no idea.
Interesting fact. Good job, Kien.
So this is also the first time that we actually see Smithers in person. We heard his voice over the PA system on the first episode, talking about the Christmas bonuses not coming that year, but this time we get to see him in person, and as most people remember, he was accidentally colored wrong. They gave him dark skin and blue hair.
Was it an accidental thing or just...
You know,
because I'm looking at these.
Know.
I'm reading these and production notes is like, it just kind of happened because in this same episode, Lou, the cop, is Simpsons yellow.
Okay.
So,
I mean, the producers have said, and I don't know if they were just saying it to cover their butts or not, that they didn't feel right, obviously, having a subservient guy to Mr. Burns, you know, being...
That is African American.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, that's, you know... But I don't know if that was just
I feel
covering
like that's
or...
just a little cover-up. I feel like it was one of those oops conundrums.
Yeah, like they made his character and then they're like, oh, wait.
Well, I feel like it's like animation coloring, I guess. I feel like 'cause sometimes, like, you see that a lot. You see that a lot during the 1990s, and, like, there's a lot of discoloration animation going on. Like, people's pants are different colors in one scene. And
oh, yeah, Marge's necklace changes from red to white. Several.
Often.
Yeah, like,
so
a lot.
I think it's one of those things where, like, you gotta remember these were also being made a lot overseas. It's being hand-drawn at this time.
Right, and this was his first appearance. It's not like, you know...
Yeah.
So I don't know if that's what they were actually going for, and then they were like, oops, nope, and then, I mean,
well, my wife is telling me apparently the Simpsons writers thought they were racist, so, like, here we go. I'm joking. I'm joking.
I was going to say, I think they probably got negative feedback about it, but I could be wrong. I don't really know.
But it's the 1990s, though. Do you really think that they're, like, I could see now, maybe.
Well, I feel like, I don't know, because when season 1 came out, I was still little at that time, so I don't really... I'm not quite sure what exactly happened. The internet wasn't around, obviously, at that time, so...
Yeah. But then we get to see another appearance of Joe Fission, the cowboy...
Smiling Joe Fission!
The cowboy
trying to explain nuclear science to the kids.
And it's, like, the worst but funniest way of explaining it, because, like, he's getting over the fact of, like, what nuclear energy can do that's bad.
Well, he's like, there's some leftover waste, but we'll just put that where no one can see it. And he, like, sweeps it under the rug, like, you know, literally.
And then, like, one of them flies off and he just tries to smack it out. I feel like that was, like, a funny thing. Because you got to remember, this is still, like, it's post-Cold War, but still, like, the thought of nuclear...
Right.
mayhem
And it was still edgy
happening.
at the time to be, like, you know, talking about that.
Nuclear. So...
We also see Blinky, the first appearance of the three-eyed fish, Blinky, as a result, obviously, of the nuclear waste.
He's bigger in season 2, though. There's a legit episode.
You know, spoilers, you know, the original Blinky gets eaten.
Yes.
But you see more three-eyed fish through the series, so I think it's just like... You know, all the fish got mutated. The mascot itself is Blinky. Yeah, the mascot's Blinky, but obviously more fish have mutated.
That's still one of my favorite, like, Simpsons gag is Blinky. Personally.
I love Blinky. I wish he wouldn't have gotten eaten.
Yeah. So, and then Homer, you know, this is another one of those things where, like, Homer's a dum-dum, but he's also a very, like, you know, like, hey, I want my son to be proud of me.
Right. He had good intentions, so he's driving around this little cart. And he's like, oh, hey, you know, my son's field trip's coming through here today, and he wants to go say hi, and he's, you know, waving, and he obviously crashes into some tanks, and it causes a little bit of a mess. And then, Sherry and Terry's father has to step in and be like, you're fired. So that all happened right in front of not only Bart, but his whole class, which is really embarrassing.
But then the lightheartedness kicks in. You find out the dad was Sherry and Terry's dad, because they're like, "Hi, Dad." Oh,
yeah,
hey,
yeah,
girls. And then it jumps in, and so Homer's a little out of it. He's a little depressed. He's having a hard time finding a job.
Right, and Marge tells him well, I can always go back to working my old job where she was a waitress on skates, like they used to do back in the 50s.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was funny. Oh, he also goes to Moe's, where we actually see the first prank phone call that Bart does to Moe.
Yes.
And it was the IP Freely.
I'm sorry.
So that started, obviously everyone knows Bart's prank phone calls, yeah.
Prank phone. They're really funny, though. Some of them are really good.
Some of them are, super basic, but then, some of them are actually kind of, funny, like Ivana Tinkle, and, you know.
This one was a little smarter, though.
IP Freely.
Right.
Right.
I think, so Moe won't let Homer run a tab. So this leads to Homer going home without any beer in his system. Because
he blatantly tells him, I don't think you're going to be able to get another job and pay me back. And poor Homer, he falls into this deep depression. Bart and Lisa start to take advantage of that a little bit. Bart has Homer sign his report card, which I don't know if it's different in other states, but it had U's on it. So I was like, what's a U? I
think that was just a gag.
Right? I don't know if it was supposed to just be, for fun, or if it's actually,
Undetermined, I guess? I don't know.
I really don't even know. Because I was expecting, all F's, and there were a couple F's, a couple D's, but there was a U, and I was like, what's this U about? So that was kind of fun.
Then, he's sitting there, down on his luck, and a Duff beer commercial kicks in. And, this one kind of reminds me, because we just got done watching the Malcolm in the Middle episode, where Dewey and Hal both see these commercials that are super subliminal in their heads, go buy me, your family will love you.
Right, you can be president if you eat enough of these cookies.
You can be the ruler of the world. That is the same feeling of these, of this. You know what I mean?
He thinks beer is going to be a temporary solution to him feeling sad.
I mean, I think he knows it's a temporary solution.
Yeah, he even says so.
So there is, again, a humanizing moment for him where he steals Bart's piggy bank and shatters it.
And then he realizes, oh no, I broke into my son's piggy bank. But then another, it's getting a little dark, so then they need the comic relief where he's like, it's not even enough for one beer. And then he's like, wait a minute, and then he, counts it really quick to see if it is or not. Because it is kind of getting in a dark direction here. He ends up writing a suicide note to his family. He feels like he's worthless. He feels like he can't do anything to get any better. So he decides that he's going to jump off a bridge.
And he grabs the rock and he starts walking with it.
Yeah, he ties it around his waist and lugs it all the way to the bridge.
The family sees the note and they're running to get him.
And they almost get hit by a truck.
Yeah.
Which actually he himself almost got hit on his way to the bridge, and he steps out of the way, which is, another comedic relief there, he's actually going to kill himself, but he stepped out of the way of the car. But he saves them just in the nick of time.
But my favorite side gag beforehand is he's lugging the rock around, and then he goes to the bridge, and there's a rock the exact same size.
Right, that he could have just picked up there, right?
He's like, oh, okay.
Live and learn.
Yeah.
But anyway, so he decides that he has a new purpose in life. And
that is to make Springfield safe.
Mm-hmm, put a stop sign at that intersection. We also, there's a lot of firsts in this episode, I realized.
Chief Wiggum.
Chief Wiggum, yeah. He had a different voice this time. He was holding a town meeting. Again, another first for Alberto, who was doing the graffiti, and of course we all know that's Bart. But yeah, and he had a different voice this time, and his hair was darker. It wasn't blue, was it? It was
It was blue.
Was it blue?
It was blue.
Was it dark blue?
It was dark.
I feel like it was a different
color.
color.
Like a navy.
Okay.
It's still the blue tint to it, though. I'd say like a navy.
Kind of like Milhouse's hair in that one episode. So he starts by getting the sign put up, the stop sign at that intersection.
But he keeps going until all of Springfield is just
covered in
rivered with signs, and they're like, "All right, we get it already."
Right. I mean, he got a following though.
Yeah.
He had a crowd, and he decides to take on the power plant because it's the most dangerous thing in town. So he actually forms a protest for that.
And he's about to protest, and Smithers goes down to the protest to get him, and Mr. Burns is like, do you want a job as the safety manager? You just have to tell everyone it's safe.
Right. And he does the thing where he goes out and then he comes back in and like renegotiates a little bit, which that's smart for Homer. But he does mention to Mr. Burns, like, I think I've caused more accidents than like his work ethic, is actually terrible. But funny side note here: the people in the crowd, a lot of them look like very poorly drawn blobs in that whole protest area.
Very much so.
But I love this. There behind Homer when he's accepting the job is a picture of Mr. Burns on this really derpy looking green horse. It was funny to me. I'm like, that's what they chose to put in the background. Like,
it's one of those things. And like Homer tells everyone he is taking the job, and they're like, "Yeah, good job, Homer." And then we all realize what happens next. Like, he's terrible at it. But
I mean, they don't show that though. I
Right.
mean, that just in the future we'll see that. But it basically just ended with he takes the job, he announces it, everyone's proud of him, everyone's like, oh good, he's gonna be the safety inspector, which not really the best idea.
all right, let's hit some trivia. No memes that I know of that have spawned from here, so you're not getting to hear me rant about how it doesn't say pathetic. Still, I rue the day.
I mean, I don't know what to tell you, but we're gonna get more. Like there's a lot of Simpsons memes, so we'll find the origin of all of them eventually.
That is my goal, guys. This is another reason the podcast is real, is because Kien, I'm gonna be a meme hunter. I'm gonna find out every meme I can on The Simpsons.
I was actually impressed that you were able to just be like, wait a second, that's that meme, I was like, oh, good for you. Good catch.
I used to, before I grayscaled my phone, my wife knows this, I memed it up.
It's true.
So many memes. But, no. So, the cartoon at the power plant was given an old-time real footage feel by having animation cells dragged across the cement to scratch it up. This trick was used several more times by the animators until the show abandoned animation cells in 2002. You can still buy Simpsons animation cells for like $200-$300.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, if you want them. It's the first time we see Duff beer introduced.
Oh, is it?
It is.
Fun.
Yep. So
there was like a million firsts in this episode.
Yep. Although elementary and very cartoon-like, Smiling Joe's vision explanation of nuclear power was very accurate.
Was it?
Yeah.
I mean, it sounded pretty accurate. It sounded like something I'd find in, I'd hear about.
So, this is the first script that was ever completed for The Simpsons.
So, the other two weren't?
Mm-mm. It was the first full completed script.
Interesting.
Yeah, you didn't know that?
No.
Like, sometimes, like, TV series, if they're non-linear, will write different episodes.
Oh, okay.
Like, this wouldn't happen on, like, Star vs. the Forces of Evil or Steven Universe because they are, like, legit stories being told.
Right.
Episode through episode. But because this is, like, a sitcom setting, that's why syndication's so good. That's why, like, the only one they never not syndicate together is Who Shot Mr. Burns. That's the only one that's ever syndicated together.
Okay.
Because technically it's an hour-long episode.
Right. It was a to-be-continued thing, right? I remember that so vividly. I can't wait till we get to those episodes. Like, seriously, I have so much to say about them.
I have so much to say about them because that Who Shot Mr. Burns has a lot of Twin Peaks references, and I love Twin Peaks. When Homer is standing in the car explaining safety to people, if you pause when it shows the crowd, you can see a skeleton and a happy little elf to the right.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
Happy little elf.
Yep.
Throwback to...
Oh, that's right. There was an elderly couple that made fun of Homer.
Oh, yeah, there was. For more comedic relief, while he's carrying the rock to the bridge, these jerkish old people are just like, oh, it looks like old man Simpson's gonna kill himself.
They were originally supposed to be, like, regular recurring characters who would make off-kilter jokes like that.
I wish they would have.
I really wish they would have,
because then the guy's like, no, maybe he's just taking his pet boulder for a walk. Like, I would have loved snarky old people neighbors. They should have kept them. I want to say they had them as background characters at some point, but I do wish they would have continued that.
Did you know that the J... in the DVD commentary, we found out the J in Homer's full name was inserted by the writers as a tribute to Bullwinkle J. Moose from Rocky and His Friends.
Now, that one I did know.
You did?
That one I did.
Wow!
Yep.
Did you watch Rocky and Bullwinkle a lot when you were kids?
No, I think I might have seen like an episode or two.
Did you watch The Secret Squirrel? Do you remember that one?
I do not.
Oh, you're missing out. We gotta watch some Secret Squirrel when we're done. The sign inside the nuclear power plant reads, "Our safety record 7 days since last accident."
At the beginning of the episode, or?
Yes. Yes. Springfield Shopper headline: Simpsons say safe. Doesn't cheer Homer Simpson. Homer Simpson strikes again. Watch out! Here comes Homer Simpson. And enough already, Homer Simpson.
Oh, the protest signs.
Yep.
I saw the one that was like enough already because
I love that one.
Well, he literally had signs everywhere, like.
So, although Mr. Burns was seen in Simpsons Roasting on an Open Fire, this was the first appearance in order of production codes. Hence the dramatic music when the camera pans out on him.
I like that, from the beginning, his character actually hasn't changed that much.
Yeah, he's just an evil old man.
He's literally just kind of been that evil boss, the whole, through start to finish, from the not giving people Christmas bonuses all the way through the series, he's a jerk.
Did you know that Otto is designed to look like a former writer, Wallace Wolodarski?
I did not.
And let's get a picture. I see it.
I can see it too,
yeah.
Definitely.
He
you
looks
guys
like
should
a frog, though.
Google that. What was his name again?
Wallace Wadolski.
Wadolski. Fun.
So, overall, I think I would give this a solid, I'll give this a solid, 8.5, nuclear fission cartoons out of 10.
Really?
Yeah.
I think that's the highest rating you've given it yet.
I think it is. This is, again, I do not have a religious love and following for this. If my wife would be like, yeah, we could do a Dragon Ball Z Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle podcast, I could do that. If we did a Power Rangers podcast, I'd mess with that and be like, this is a 10 out of 10 episode
right.
all the time. But I found it to be fun. I found this to be the most heartfelt.
Do you think that?
At the moment.
Okay.
At the moment of the three we have watched.
Of the three, I guess.
Yes, of the three we have watched, this is the most human of the Homer Simpson I've seen.
Right, he's really caring about not just his family, but Springfield as a whole. He wants to keep everyone safe, but I don't know. As far as episodes go, I'll be honest, it's not really my favorite one. I give it a 6.
Wow. Okay,
I know, I'm a terrible person here.
I'm in the I don't know. I just there's something about it. It was just a nice heartwarming episode.
I mean, it was dark.
I know.
Most of it was pretty dark. That first half,
Give me more sad and depressing.
I guess I like that it talked about. Well, I mean, not really talked about, but showed depression. Because it was a taboo subject at the time. In the 90s, no one was talking about any kind of mental health in any way.
Right.
So, I mean, it really does make him relatable. He lost his job, he's depressed, One thing I've always, I know it's kind of, what's the word I'm looking for?
taboo.
Not taboo, but like ironic that we're called Duff and Donuts, and I'm like, not that I don't want to sound like a total square or anything, but like the whole him drinking throughout the whole entire series, like that's always just been kind of like a thing for me. Just because like there are times when he like blatantly puts alcohol above his family, and I don't know like if he would qualify as an alcoholic.
Yes.
I would guess so.
So my mom has always had this thing, and I like 100% agree with her. Like she's a nurse, but like she's also like if you have to, there's a difference between coming home and drinking a beer because you want to.
Right.
I feel like he comes home, drinks a beer because he has to.
Or he goes out to Moe's every night,
yes.
or something like that. And I think actually like that as a character, him being an alcoholic, you know, that's a big part of him, you know, like
right.
he's still trying to, at least at this point, he's still trying to be a good dad and a good person and a good husband, but
a lot of the later episodes make him less of an alcoholic and just more of a jerk.
Right. He did definitely become more of a
just a mean person,
like I don't care kind of person.
Yeah.
Like he cares a lot less. Yeah.
Yes.
But
so yeah, no, I like. So you give it a 6. I give
do.
it an 8.
I don't know. Like I think maybe it's just because it's so touchy. You know what I mean? Like
I enjoyed it. I like the ending. Like hurrah! I feel like that was a nice ribbon on the bow.
It
like,
was
it
nice.
was like a nice like down to up thing going on.
Right. Definitely. Like hey, now I'm in charge of safety and I can.
Yeah.
Protect the town, but like knowing what happens after, it kind of takes some of that away. I guess for me at least, like if I had never seen it before, I'd be like, oh good, now he's gonna do a good job and protect, you know.
100%. I 100% agree with you on that. Like I know what happens,
right?
But I also find this to be like a super fun episode.
I need to like wipe my memory. Yeah, like with all the knowledge I know about it, I need to like clear it and just think about this one episode. Like so far as you know, if you're taking an episode at a time, we've seen 3. We don't really know Homer yet, so
yeah.
But yeah, no, I guess I can't get past it. I'm petty. It's gonna still be a 6 for me.
Perfect. So we might have a little schedule change, ladies and gentlemen, where we might have 2 episodes a week coming out because there's a lot of Simpsons, as my wife pointed out after we posted our 2nd episode. She's like, hey,
this is going to take forever.
It's going to take forever. So if we could do this solid and like maybe record 2 episodes and then post 2 episodes a week. And she's 100% right. I totally believe we should be doing that.
And it is definitely not a ploy to get him to watch more Simpsons with me because I just want to keep watching them over and over again.
It's definitely kind of a ploy.
Okay, it's a little bit of a ploy.
But, you know, so instead of Mondays, it'll probably be Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Or just, you know, whenever it fits in our schedule.
No, like the episode's coming out.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Not recording.
Like, right.
Like
I keep forgetting that it's not like it doesn't have to go right out.
No, it's syndication. It's syndication, dear.
I am not the technical person here. I am like...
As everyone knows.
I record it and I'm like, it's done. It's out
right,
there.
It's done. It's out there. I mean, technically it's not out there. It'll be out there soon.
You're like, here I am editing and doing all this stuff.
Yeah,
and I'm like,
100%,
okay.
like, also that means I'm able to do like, I'm working on another thing. Like, this isn't a shameless plug. This is just like I'm working on another thing where I'm going to be interviewing just interesting people, and it's going to be called The Social Simulator. And you guys can also listen to it on here. Not on this podcast, but like on the thing.
Right.
So, this has been Kien and Keith. And my lovely co-host, B. And you guys have a great evening, day, or night. Ooh.
Bye.